Hi, I'm Herm Gailey. We are back as promised with another session or a continuation of a session from our previous video introducing this young horse to a transitional bit. So we've gone from a traditional ring snaffle to a very short shank. It's really more of a ring than a shank, but there is a purchase, so there's some leverage, and there is a chain or a curb strap under his chin. On this horse, I will use a curb chain. This is a big, heavy, soft chain. In other words, the surface area is considerable. People look at it and say, my God, you got a log chain under his chin, but that actually makes it more forgiving. So I like the heavier chain because it doesn't hang up. When you release it, it falls right down. I mean, a piece of leather and a piece of metal fall at the same rate. I guess that's just physics. But the fact is, if something is binding this, the weight will carry it past that better than if you had something just holding up, like, you know, his chin or his hair even. Might hold a light curved strap more so than this chain. So what I like to do, and I'm just sort of walking him around and barely steering him. I like to introduce this new bridle to him the same way as I did on the ground, and that is just taking his head around. I'm going to keep him walking for a minute or two because I don't want him to stop. In a braced position. So ultimately, yeah, I'm happy if he wants to walk down to a stop, but I don't want him to stop with a brace. So see, he's bulging to the outside. I'm just going to use a little outside leg to square him up, then relax my legs. Comes to a stop with his head over. That's what you're after. And he's not at all negative on this bridle, which is what we're after. So this is very low key. It's very dull and boring. It's the dull and boring stuff that you use to build your horse though. So I'm going to tip his nose, see if he runs to the outside or the inside. He's staying pretty true, but he wants to run out on his shoulder. So a little outside leg to bring his body back into alignment, and then stop and release him. Now in this case, I started to the right, which is his stiffer way. No reason he couldn't start the easier way. But he's not being belligerent about it at all. He's kind of dozy today, and we may deal with that in a later segment. Colt he's a nice guy, but he's a little sluggish, and that's something we're gonna have to work through. So I'm just going to tip his nose to the left, set my hand and let him come to it. And he wanted to stop braced. I want him to walk and straighten up. See how he's just all over the place? I want him centered. See, he's running through his right shoulder, running through his shoulder to the right. So I'm using that left leg to bring him into position, and then he can stop. So I don't want to stop with him all bent out of shape. So if it takes a few revolutions to get him right and you have to adjust him with your legs, that's okay. Tip his nose around, keep him moving for a few steps, because he was going to stop. I could feel pressure on my hand. I would prefer to stop him when that little bit of brace is gone and when his body is properly aligned. He's coming back where he belongs. There we go. And that's nice. That's what you're after. So that's starting to break your horse loose out of walk. Pretty quick, I'll trot him. Now, on this particular session with this new bridle, if I lope him, I'll just lope him great big circles or straight lines, because I don't need to have that extra speed and that little bit of mental excitement in the mix. So let's wake him up, trot forward, I'm going to bend him to the left. So I don't want to take a hold of his face to stop him, but I do want to use his mouth. I'm going to use it laterally first like that. Now he's walking quiet, so I'm not going to stop him. I've got that relaxed walk, but see, he's running through his shoulder to the right. So I'm just going to get him squared up, which he is. Then I'm going to release him, but go forward. So we're not going for anything that looks even vaguely like collection. We're not looking for any special headset. We're just looking for him to start to respond to that bridle and loosen up. And he's sort of searching, he's running through his shoulder. Gonna push with that left leg, see, and adjust him over, get him to where he's square, and then I'll let him stand for a minute this time. So we'll do that a few times to the right, and that's a good beginning with a new bridle. And I would do it quite a few more times, but y'all don't need to live through that whole process. So take a hold of him. I'm not asking him to keep trotting. I actually want him to come down to a nice relaxed walk, but relaxed is a relative term, and he's probably a bit too relaxed. So we'll trot off. He feels good. No matter where you're pointed, trot off. I just guide him around here. Free him up when he's going forward and straight. And then just kink him around in a little bit of a circle. Walk with him. See him running through the shoulder. Tends to do that more his soft way to the left, which is pretty common. Keep my leg on him, or put my leg on him. Get him going to the left, not trying to run out to the right. That's better. There you go. And that's the very beginnings of just getting him accustomed to a different bridle. So if I wanted to check him a little bit to see if he would give to me vertically, I'd probably just hold this rein kind of steady, just enough to keep him from overbending, reach up, hook my thumb over his neck, and say, can you give me some vertical? So I'm using the left rein more so than the right to get him to flex vertically. Reach up, hook my thumb over his neck. As soon as his head comes down and he takes a step or two, I release him. So that's a test, and he's really passed that pretty well. If I had to pencil in a change with him, it would be a little more energy. We all like quiet horses, but sluggish isn't as attractive. So I'm going to pick up on the reins. He was backing pretty well with the regular snaffle. Just see if he'll accept that. That's using both reins, which is a little different feel to him. And with this different bridle, there, he gives me his head, gives me a couple of steps. Gives me his head, gives me his head. Come on. There you go, buddy. Looking to the left, he needs to, there. He's about to come. Now back up. As mouth's a little active, that's to be expected. He's not objecting to things, so that's good progress. And so far, I would say that I like the feel of this bridle a little better than the way he was feeling with the snaffle. So maybe it was a good choice to prematurely put him into a very, very mild curb. So never be afraid to try things, never be afraid to invent stuff. Till next time, thanks for watching.